Let's talk some rustiness. Did we talk about this a couple years ago?
We covered Rust probably about a year ago.
I'm covered in it.
There was an art we discussed it. So Rust is a survival game. These have become fairly popular on PC. Rust is a popular one. Basically, it drops you, a character, naked as a newborn babe, into the wilderness, and you have to figure it out. The game, I believe, incorporates permanent death.
Yes.
And it's almost as much of a social experiment as it is a game.
Because it's open, people can turn on you, or they can help you. You can form groups to survive. You can be cutthroat if you want.
Right. When we covered it previously, it was about how vicious and cruel some people could get in the game, about how
like DayZ was too. How you can,
a group could capture two people at gunpoint, and make them sit certain paces apart from each other and run for an item, and then the other person gets killed or something like that. Weird Walking Dead type shit. So the game has always randomized your character in terms of skin color and physical build. Well, now, with the introduction of, I believe, female characters, I believe that's being newly introduced, it's randomly assigning you a gender. And naturally, there are a bunch of fucking babies who are really upset over this because they don't want to play as a woman. My base feeling on this is, if you are going to randomize characters and you are going to have both genders in a game and you want your game to be survival based and you want it to be realistic, you need to populate the world with a reasonable ratio of men and women. And I believe it states that 90% of the people or something like that who are playing Rust are men. So they're more likely to pick men, which means you're going to be left with a world that is largely dominated by men. I don't think there's absolutely any problem. If randomization was something you were expecting going into it in the early stages, I don't see why you wouldn't continue randomizing things as they are introduced in the game. This is a problem. This is a problem because people want to make it a problem.
Video games is a form of escapism, first and foremost. It's a form of entertainment. You want to have a fantasy. You want to do something you obviously can't do in real life. You can't be easily dropped off naked on an island with a bunch of other people and then either hit them with rocks and take their clothes or weapons.
Right.
That said, if this was introduced out of nowhere and people are used to being a certain gender, and if that's what they identify with, I can empathize a little bit with them all of a sudden, be like, all right, I want to play as somewhat identify as a guy, while all of a sudden am I forced to be a woman?
Because women were simply just introduced. All characters prior to this were male characters. So if randomization was always a part of it, and they simply just introduced female characters, it follows that they would simply randomize the gender as well as physical build, skin color, hair.
But is there a difference between how the characters play?
I don't believe there is.
Can men do something in the game that the women characters can't?
No, I would highly doubt that.
If that was the case, then I'd be like, okay, I can see this being something cool. I don't know. Is there sex involved? Can you develop baby Rust characters? I don't know. Maybe that'd be something interesting.
That would probably lead to way too many disturbing things, frankly.
Well, already these games are disturbing. And I've seen gameplay of these games.
Yeah.
And to me, they're like, okay, I see. I mean, the graphics aren't that great. Gameplay sort of, all right. It's a first-person shooter. Jump around, you shoot. I don't know. I think it comes down to... okay, the developers said they expected the backlash coming. They said, we understand this is a sore subject for a lot of people. We understand that you may not now be a gender that you don't identify with in real life. We understand this causes you distress and makes you not want to play the game anymore. Technically nothing has changed since half the population was already living with those feelings. The only difference is that whether you feel like this is now decided by your Steam ID instead of your real life gender. To me, they're trying to integrate a social message into their game that I think a lot of players were not expecting in their Rust game. That's to me what it sounds like, because they're saying half the population was already living with those feelings. Yes, but half the population aren't the people playing your game. If 95% of the people playing your game are guys, and you inject this sort of, okay, half male, half female, there's going to be some guys upset. You can argue that, okay, well, maybe they should just get over it. But if they're a 13-year-old kid, 14-year-old kid, maybe it could be difficult for them. Is this the sort of medium that you want to inject your social meshes into? A shitty first-person shooter survival game?
Is this same 13-year-old kid okay with playing a Tomb Raider game where you don't get to choose your gender?
But he's choosing to play that character. Here he's not.
Well, now you're choosing to accept the fact that your character is going to be randomly generated or not.
Well, that's the whole point, though. So, which I don't have a problem with. The whole point is that you're going to come down to the fact that people will stop playing this game because of this.
Oh, well.
It's developers' choice, obviously. Yeah. So they're going to vote with their wallet whether or not they want to continue playing or not.
I have a feeling that, like a lot of online bluster, there's going to be a lot of big talk, and a lot of people are going to continue playing the game anyways. I really don't think it's going to matter a whole lot in the long run to its player base. And like I said, social message or not, if you're trying to create a game that's realistic, then you can't have a world that is 100% male. And like I said at the beginning of the segment, if 90% of your players are male, then you might as well interject female in there.
Or I don't know, or don't have any different. I don't know. I think this is a really weird situation. I just think it's weird overall.
Or have everyone be genderless gray blobs. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't actually think it's that weird if randomization was part of it to begin with, and they just hadn't integrated female character models.
I think you have to always remember what your core audience is, and if they honestly don't care, they're pissing off a lot of 13-year-old boys that are playing this game, which is probably the vast majority, are like teenage boys. Then you got to take your lumps. I just don't think it's smart to do it for a game like this where it was established where...
Or the vast majority of the vocal people are 13-year-old teenage boys, and there are plenty of people who are playing who don't give a shit.
Sure.
You got to remember, the people who are pissed off are the most vocal group. People who are happy with things generally don't say anything.
Is this true? That penis size is randomized too? That's actually funny.
I think it's hilarious.
I just make fun of someone.
But that's my point. Every single aspect of this has been randomized before. Why not gender now that that's a thing?
Okay. Well, I'm never going to play this game. Like I said,
no, neither am I.
I think I watched a half hour of gameplay back when we discussed it the first time. I'm like, it's interesting with the drops and you can build up your own little house.
Yeah.
But it's like...
It's sort of like a Minecraft thing to me,
yeah.
in that it's a darker version of such, but it's a game that requires a lot of time and dedication that I just can't fathom putting into a game.
So, okay, we'll have to track to see if people leave this in droves or not. It looks like, according to this article, when this person checked, there was 48,000 people that were currently playing in the game. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the true test to see what those numbers are in a month.
Oh. Can you pick the... Does you think the booby size is randomized in it? The penis size is?
I would imagine so. At
least if he dropped me in, I want a nice rump.
That's probably randomized as well.
Nice rump?
Yeah.
Right. Nice rump size.